Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Carla and welcome to Knitting Diaries episode 1. So I started knitting seriously this year, and by seriously I mean things that are not scarves and in more than just knit stitch. I've been consuming knitting content on Instagram and YouTube nonstop. I've been talking my husband's ear off nonstop, showing him yarn. Poor thing. So I figured it would be a little bit of a better idea to have my own space where I can talk to people who also are familiar with knitting. And that's how the Knitting Diaries series came about. Like I said, I picked up knitting seriously at the beginning of this year, the end of January. So it's been around 8 months. I've been having a ball. The endless amount of colors, the patterns, all of that, it's just so fun for me. I consider myself a very creative person, but I can't say that the way I was living my life was really conducive to exploring those hobbies. I was definitely a phone and social media addict. I do post on TikTok for work, but it was definitely spiraling out of control. I feel like if you're the content creator, maybe you shouldn't spend hours on the app as well. But that's exactly what I was doing, and I wanted to kick the habit. And I remembered that years earlier I had loved knitting. I never knitted anything that was worthy of showing, but I just remembered I enjoyed the feeling of just having my hands be preoccupied and having a end product that I could wear, even if it was hideous. So in this video, my first episode of the Knitting Diaries, I just want to review all of my yarn and my yarn stash, which is not much. Most of what's in my collection at this point is like leftovers of things that I've made, and then I do have like sweater quantities of 2 different types of yarn, so I'll show you guys that. And I also wanted to show you guys the finished objects that I have. I am not a furious knitter like many people on YouTube. I also picked up sewing as a hobby as well. I did sew this shirt, and the way that I sew and knit is kind of on opposite ends. So if I'm sewing something, I will not pick up knitting needles until that thing is done. So it does slow me down a bit, but I do have a few finished objects. So let's hop into all of the yarn that I have in my stash. Usually I buy my yarn online, but whenever I can support my local yarn shop, I will. And I recently made a trip to their store. I go to Wool House in Pasadena, and I got the most stunning pink Santa's Garn yarn. This is Santa's Garn Sunday. As you can see, she is absolutely stunning. This is such a beautiful color, and I feel like with my skin tone, it looks really nice. I got 5 skeins of this, and this is approximately 235 meters per skein. And the reason why I got this is because a few months earlier, I had gone in with my sister and I got a different yarn for a different sweater that I'll show you guys later. And my sister is like Santa Claus, kind of. And she couldn't resist, and she bought me some beautiful tin silk mohair that I'll show you right now. This is what my sister got me. As you can see, this beautiful color. Perfect match. So as you can see, these 2 stunning beauty queens are a perfect match. They're in the color 4813, which I think is pink lilac. I love everything beautifully colored and alive. So when I saw this, I couldn't pass it up, and my sister also couldn't pass it up apparently. As you can see, she is so deliciously fluffy and soft. Prior to getting this yarn, I was previously only using Drops Kid Silk, which unfortunately is a little bit scratchy. I love it for an economical project. This is $14 at my local yarn shop. Drops Kid Silk is $7. So much cheaper, but sometimes, you know, it's worth the splurge, especially for a project that I want to put a lot of love in and keep for a long time. I've been debating with myself with what I'm going to make with this combination. I have a few ideas. I'm kind of throwing up a cabled sweater, which would be my first one, or just a classic sweater, kind of like the Stockholm sweater or the Oslo from Petite Knit. As you can see, both are pretty fine. This is definitely a sweater quantity of mohair, and I was debating on whether or not I would make just a single 2-stranded mohair sweater, and unfortunately I tried to do that before getting this yarn, and I don't know if I can do that again, but we'll discuss that later. Here are all 5 of my skeins of Sunday. I think this color might be temporary or seasonal. For some reason, when I check online, some places list the color as discontinued. She is definitely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to use her in a project I think I might cast on pretty soon. The second to last yarn that I bought was actually pretty close to the date that I bought the Sunday from my local yarn store. This yarn I bought directly from the Knitting for Olive website. I have heard a lot of great things about Knitting for Olive. I did my research, and I just decided that I wanted to order some stuff from them because I had a project in mind in a very specific color, and when the color speaks to me, I cannot fight back. I had plans for this sweater. It was going to be cobalt blue, but then I was surfing the website and then I saw something in poppy blue. Is this not the most stunning color you've ever seen? When I saw this, my cobalt blue cardigan dreams went to the trash and I said, we're doing it in poppy blue. I bought 8 skeins of the heavy merino and then I bought 5 skeins of the soft silk mohair. I already started the project for this, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna need all 5, but this color is so stunning. I could definitely see myself making another item in maybe the just standard size merino. As you can see, what a duo this makes. The soft silk mohair, you can definitely see a bit of the white and kind of like the core. Personally, that doesn't bother me. I find that all mohair that is kind of like a shocking color has a bit of a white core, but I think it adds like a cute texture. It looks super cute to me and it has like a little bit more of a visual interest. These are sitting in my yarn basket at the moment. So my pink lilac yarn is kind of sitting off to the side, and then we have this taking up the basket now because this is what I'm working on at the moment. Next, I have this Drops Kid Silk in the color Blue Jean. I'm learning a little bit more about what colors work with my skin tone. These kind of, I like to call them dead colors, are not, you know, so great with my skin tone. I thought maybe this would be a little bit more vibrant, and I have gone through a few experiences of just ordering Drops Kid Silk online, and then the color that I get in is so atrocious compared to the picture. And this is the yarn that is the culprit in my 2-stranded mohair sweater that I've been knitting for the last 4 or 5 months. And my most recent finished object was in this most stunning, beautiful baby pale yellow. This yarn is the yarn that I went into my local yarn shop for. This is Cascades 220 Superwash, and this is Drops Kid Silk in the color Lemonade, I believe. I ordered this online from Lind Hobby, which is where I order all my drops. If you're in California, they ship very fast. I've ordered yarn on a Monday and gotten it by a Friday. This is what was left over from my finished object. I feel like there might be just enough to maybe make a little bit of a thick beanie. These two together were such a beautiful combination. For some reason, it's like perfectly fluffy. It's not too itchy. It drapes beautifully. I guess for Drops Kid Silk, it kind of depends on the color, the level of scratchiness. This is not too scratchy. Even just touching it here, it's super soft. This was such a stunning, squishy, fluffy combination of yarn. This was perfect for the project that I had in mind. I'm loving chunky yarn at the moment, as you can tell with my heavy merino as well. As you can see, my color combinations are a little wild, but in my wardrobe, they work pretty well. So the next 2 yarns in my stash are exactly what I was talking about earlier with Drops Kid Silk bamboozling me. These 2 were paired together in a sweater. This is supposed to be old pink. I went on Drops website and I actually looked at the color combo between these 2. That's why I bought it. Completely different from what I got. However, I had ordered this yarn from Denmark and it had come. I wasn't gonna reorder it, so I just made the sweater. I did complain the entire time that I was making the sweater that this was not the color combo that I had in mind. I love this shade. This is the Drops Baby Merino. As you can see, these 2 are a horrible pair. The second to last purchase yarn. This was the first sweater that I ever knitted. I knitted the Petite Knit Novice Chunky Sweater. That sweater was very ugly. It's not in my possession. However, this is the yarn combination that I used. This is Drops Kid Silk in Apple Green. I wanted the whole sweater to be this color, essentially. This is Drops Air in Pistachio, I think. I was not too aware of the fact that this was not unicolor. It is a mix. That's not the vibe that I wanted for the sweater. The sweater was also quite large. This is alpaca. It sucks up a lot of water and I blocked it to oblivion. And this was also before I realized I should probably be like knitting things 3 inches shorter. Short torso props. So that sweater went to my sister, but here's the combination. I feel like if I wanted to knit something a bit more chunky, maybe I'll go back for Drops Air. It's just a little too unstructured for me. If I make something in a chunky yarn, I want it to have some weight, and this has no weight, which some people like, and it's also too warm for California. Alpaca is crazy. Every time that I tried to wear that sweater, I started sweating within minutes. Not for me. I have seen some colorways of Drops Air that I have liked, but I feel like I would have to move to Canada to actually wear those pieces. And last but not least, but first, yarn that I ever bought is this yarn from Genmu. I believe Genmu is a Japanese brand. I don't have the label anymore, so I don't know what color this is, but I'll find it and I'll pop it up on the screen. As you can see, she is very similar to Poppy Blue from Knitting for Olive. However, this is almost $13 a skein from my local yarn shop. I love this yarn. I knitted a beanie in it and I never blocked the beanie, so I don't actually know how the yarn will feel afterwards. I think I'm gonna block it after this video, actually. I knitted the beanie double strand. This might look look a bit fluffier than it is, but once you pull it, it is very, very thin. There's some color variation. There's like some black, some white in there. It's a very beautiful yarn. It's just too expensive to buy a sweater quantity of. That's why I'm thankful for knitting for Olive. So that is all the yarn in my yarn stash. I have done a number to this basket. I'm gonna organize after this video on to finished / almost finished objects. We'll start from the most recently finished to the last / in progress still. I'm touching this sweater and it's just making me so happy. As you can see, she is yellow. She's in half fisherman's rib. This is the Daydreamer cardigan from Kuptova Kika. This pattern is stunning. It is a dead ringer for the Emily cardigan from Cezanne, which I love. That cardigan is $170. And they had this beautiful pale yellow color. I wanted to copy it. So I did the work. I found the Cascade 220 in straw. I paired it with Drops Kid Silk and Lemonade, and we have this beautiful, luscious, squishy, fluffy fabric. This ended up knitting up pretty quickly. I took a few breaks from it to sew, and so it took me about 2 months. I think if I put my mind to it, it would have been done in a month. Let me hold it up so you can see. Get mohair in my nose. This was my first time knitting a cardigan, so I was not familiar with the fact that I was supposed to put a buttonhole in the collar. I did not, and I also didn't have enough buttons anyways, so it didn't matter. I plan on wearing this mainly open, but as you can see, she is a stunning yellow color. I chose these very comical yellow buttons that in hindsight, I probably would have chosen a paler yellow button, but I got these from my secondhand store, so sustainability. But she is absolutely stunning. This was such a fun pattern to knit. This was my first time knitting any type of brioche pattern. It was way easier than I thought. However, when I did mess up, yeah, it was not good. And I only messed up once here, and it took me maybe 2 hours to try to fix it. It didn't even end up getting fixed, but luckily it's on the back so you can't see it, or I can't see it. My tension when I knit is super tight, so this ended up looking very tiny when I was knitting it. However, after blocking it, it just has the most lovely, beautiful drape. The fisherman's rib just evened out so nicely, and the mohair got just like a really nice fluff to it, like I do with all of my finished objects. I was blocking this. I got impatient. I don't even know why, because I couldn't have even worn it if I wanted to, but I think I was filming a TikTok video, so I just wanted to put it on for the video, and I removed it from the blocking pads too early, so I have to redo that. My next finished object is this. On camera, the color looks cute, but this is not what I was going for. This is the pink combo from Drops. This is the Monday sweater from Petite Knit. This was my first raglan, my first and only raglan. I've never knit raglan since. Oh, that's a lie, the cardigan. I've loved the sleekness and the look of the pattern. Obviously, since I love color, I needed it to be in pink. I wanted this to be more of like a hot pink. That did not come across. It's a bit more of a muted pink because of the Drops Kid Silk combo. Here is a close-up. As you can see the baby merino peeking through, and then the Drops Kid Silk. Here are the raglan increases, which was super fun and very satisfying to do. And it has a double folded ribbed collar. The sleeves are ribbed as well as the bottom. It is a very stunning and well-made sweater. I think this took me about a month and a half to do. I got very tired with this at the end. The thing with stockinette, I love the ease, but it's a bit boring. So especially when I was doing the sleeves and I was like on the second sleeve, I was like, Jesus Christ, this sweater needs to be over. But I do love the end result. This needs to be reblocked. I've been trying to wear it, and I've just figured out how I like my sweaters. I like the body to be a little bit looser, and I feel like I probably didn't stretch out the length as much as I needed to because I am short torsoed. I was like, I'll just end it at where my hip starts, but it just looks a little awkward because the sweater is supposed to be kind of like a loose, effortless sweater. So I'm going to re-stretch the length maybe about an inch or two so I could kind of tuck it in, and then I want the body to just be a little bit looser so it's less of a, you know, serious sweater. I don't really like my sweaters to be form-fitting, so I haven't really worn this much. It is very cute, and when I reblock it, I'm just gonna make sure to pin the collar kind of in place. I did stretch this a little bit too much, so when I wear like a white t-shirt underneath it, it's not a semicircle, it's kind of like an oval stretched out. This is my last finished object that I actually have in my possession. I made this beanie. This was made with the Gunmo blue color that I showed you guys earlier. That's pretty similar to the poppy blue, but a little bit different. I never blocked this. I will be blocking this promptly. This is just a 2x2 ribbing beanie that I found like on YouTube, and I just followed the tutorial. So this was the first item that I knit in the round with my interchangeable needles. Got off Amazon for $25. So that was super fun. And here's a close-up of the beanie. Next, almost at the end, this is my almost finished object. This is the two-stranded mohair sweater that I was talking about that put me off of doing that ever again. This is the Stockholm v-neck from Petite Knit. As you can see, there's one sleeve that is complete and one sleeve that is waiting for me to pick up stitches. The body is finished on this, as well as the double folded v-neck. As you can see, she is very beautiful, very neat. However, it's been months. I think I started this maybe the beginning of May. I've picked this up, put this down, finished other sweaters while knitting this. Actually just put this down a few days ago because I wanted to start something else. So I'll update you guys when this is done and I've picked up and done the second sleeve. The mohair is so annoying to knit. So I just know that if I pick up the stitches for the sleeve, it's gonna take me like a week of very focused, multiple hours a day work. And it's just not that interesting for me to be dedicating that kind of time to right now. But since I am so close to the finish line, I'm not a quitter. So I will finish this before the end of the year. I'm not gonna wear this anytime soon, seeing as it's gonna be in the 90s for the next 10 days here. We'll see. We'll be done with her by Christmas, hopefully. Last but not least, this I cast on maybe 4 or 5 days ago in the most beautiful poppy blue by Knitting for Olive. This is my second cardigan that I'm working on. This is the Soul cardigan, or the Soul cardigan by Mochi Knits. I found this pattern on Ravelry. Sometimes I find like Ravelry creators that I like kind of their style, and I end up surfing through their finished objects, and I found this in there. The girl who I saw complete this made it in like a dark gray / black. Once again, obviously I had to pick the loudest color I could find. This was the sweater that I originally wanted to do in a cobalt, but the poppy blue is just so stunning in this. It's a super chunky knit. As you can see, I've picked up stitches and I've been knitting for the left shoulder. This is the back, and once I'm done with the left shoulder, I will be picking up stitches for the right shoulder right over yonder. This sweater just has like the most amazing little details. Obviously right now it's kind of all like a little boring stockinette, but just the details with like the collar and the ribbing on the side. I feel like this sweater is just going to be a really good staple in my collection. It always gets cold at night here, and I feel like using something that is a bit more jacket-like would be really nice. And I feel like this color would go really well with blue jeans, which is pretty much my wardrobe. Also, as you can see, these colors that are a bit more alive tend to work a bit better with my skin tone. So I love this color. I think it looks great on me. But she is stunning. I have binder clips because I hate when the edges curl, but it's curling anyway. As you can see, it's a pretty chunky yarn, so and it's up really fast. It's only been about 4 days, and today I've made the conscious effort to put it down. So that is all for my Knitting Diaries episode 1. I have reviewed all of my yarn stash, reviewed all of my finished objects / in progress objects. I feel like when I watch some people's videos of like what they knit in 2023, and it's like 20 sweaters, 2 scarves, a hat, like 5 hats, I just don't have it in me. I love doing this as a hobby, but I also have other hobbies that I like to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. If you guys have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will be back with episode 2 next week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.